Well, after that magnificent introduction, richly undeserved, I just can't wait to hear what I'm going to say. Where are they all today? Those bedwetting, messianic, moaning minis of the apocalyptic traffic light tendency. Those greens, too yellow to admit they're really reds. Wherever they are, I listened very carefully to John Sununu's excellent presentation this morning, and he said, we've got to try and translate some of the complexities of climate science into a plain and simple message that even, say, Bill Clinton could understand. So the first of those messages is that global warming is not new. And here is the proof, and I'm very grateful to Professor M.I. Bhatt of the Indian Geological Survey for communicating to me this interesting result in climatological thermodynamics. This indeed was prepared for a briefing with Bill Clinton. Okay, you may think that's below the belt, but then so was Bill Clinton's mind. So next instant simple message. That's not the right one. We'll see if we can get, wait a minute. No, we've lost several slides there. I do apologize. Isn't technical solution. Never mind, we'll move on. The main message of this conference to the bedwetters is this. Stop telling lies. You are fooling fewer and fewer. Let us nail a few of those lies. First of all, they say global warming is happening now. We have completely the wrong set of slides here. It is, in fact, cooling. Secondly, they say global warming is getting worse. Well, no, it's not. It's getting better. And in fact, we could do in Scotland with a great deal more global warming, because I want to go to Hegarts of Eberfelde and order McGrath kilt. They've even taken to making falling temperatures appear to rise. Any of you who have seen Anthony Watts's brilliant website will have seen how they take the raw data and then twist it so that, for instance, in the Santa Rosa station, where the NOAA are headquartered, a temperature record over the last 100 years that shows a decline in reality is reinterpreted to show an increase. And it is that kind of shameful tampering with the evidence that will, in the end, bring the house of lies down. Then you will have heard CO2 emissions are at record levels. So they may be, but CO2 concentrations are rising at a rate well below the least of the IPCC's miserably exaggerated forecasts. They say Arctic sea ice is disappearing, and yet, except in the summer of 2007, the sea ice has shown practically no trend, a little bit of a decline in recent years in the summer only, but in the winter, until the satellite went wrong and wiped out 500,000 square miles of ice, there was plenty of it there. Then they say the Antarctic sea ice is disappearing, and here's one of the most extraordinary lies I've come across in collecting this budget of lies. Sir David King, who was, and thank goodness is no longer, the government's chief science advisor in the UK, testified before the UK Parliament 5 years ago in front of their Environmental Audit Committee that half the ice in the Antarctic has gone. So I got onto the website to see how deep the ice was over the South Pole, and it's 8,000 850 feet. And none of it's gone anywhere. It is still accumulating, as it is in Greenland. The Great Barrier Reef, we are told, is damaged by global warming. So I'm not a scientist, you see. So when somebody says the barrier reef is being damaged by global warming, what I do is I do a rather simple thing. I go and look up what the temperatures of the sea, as measured, have been in the vicinity of the Great Barrier Reef. And there has been no trend in temperatures in the Great Barrier Reef throughout the last 40 years. So from that, I, being a very simple man, infer that perhaps it isn't global warming that's causing any damage to the Great Barrier Reef, but then, hey, I'm just a simpleton. Then they say hurricanes, as we've just heard from Bob Carter, hurricanes are being caused by global warming and made worse by global warming. So again, call me old-fashioned, call me simple, but when I want to check a thing, I go and look up the data. And there's a thing called the Accumulated Cyclone Energy Index. And it's a 2-year running sum of each storm and its intensity all the way around the hurricane and tropical cyclone and typhoon areas of the world. And that index recorded its least value in the 30 years since the satellites have been watching in October of last year. So however many lies are uttered, the scientific truth remains unalterable. The forces of darkness, with their global warming chimera, came perilously close to ending the age of enlightenment and reason in which I was brought up. They almost ushered in a new dark age. Yet they have failed. Why? They've failed because you, here, have had the courage to face them down, to confront their falsehoods, and to nail their lies. The age of light and reason shall not die. Dylan Thomas wrote, "Do not go gentle to that last good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. You have not raged in vain. The world is not cooking, it is cooling. Every opinion poll, even those conducted by the bedwetters themselves, shows that global public opinion is cooling as fast as the climate. In one recent survey, global warming came at the very bottom of a list of political and environmental concerns, immediately behind the need to clean up dog poop on the streets." Why? Because dog poop is a real environmental problem, and global warming is not. The correct